We're going to wrap up our series on socks with a look at our sock boxes. We were looking at things we could do for classes in the store, and after 27 years, we have a whole library of not only patterns and classes and things we've done over the years. So I was looking back over some of Mom's older notes, and years ago, when socks, first started really popping on the scene, this is going back to like the late 90s, early 2000s. Mom would teach a class on just heels and just toes. I should have brought them, but I have all our little swatches that she would knit. She had, I don't know how many different heels knit, how many different toes, and she would teach a class on that. And that was really cool, that people could learn all the different aspects of each heel and each toe, and they were done in worsted weight, so you could get through them quickly. And I thought, that's pretty cool, but I think in today's time, that might not be the best format. I think people would be more likely to want to do it if it's already incorporated into a sock, because the thinking that it takes to take that worsted weight swatch and then put it into a current sock is probably up beyond what a lot of people want to do. So that's how sock boxes were born, and I decided we would incorporate this knowledge and these techniques into an actual sock and package them in kind of the way you would get from a cool sock club. But it's not just a sock club, it's something you can get whenever you want. It's also an instructional box. You can learn how to do this sock through this box. It's me and my mom's knowledge in a box teaching you. We started with sock box number 1, and this is the sock. What's cool about it, in fact, let's look in one of these boxes. In your box, you get the yarn. We go ahead and divide it into 2 skeins. When people ask about knitting 2 socks at once, doing 2 socks at the same time, it causes problems. It's not really my thing to do. The best way to knit 2 socks at a time is knitting them in tandem with like 2 sets of needles. You knit the cuff, knit the cuff, knit the heel, knit the heel. If you just go back and forth between the 2, that's the best way to do socks in my opinion. So we go ahead and have your yarn divvied up, ready to go. We include a nice project bag. This one has a hand paint dumpling bag. I painted that myself. And Jeannie makes pretty little markers. You get a pretty stitch marker to go with your sock. And then the pattern. This is not just a regular pattern. Like I said, this is a whole instructional guide. We have detailed, every little nuanced detail of this sock is illustrated in words and in pictures, showing you exactly where to pick up, what to do, and what we're talking about. We've gone to great lengths to make sure that this visual guide, you can do the sock and everything that it has to offer. This particular sock in sock box number 1 features Pilsner pleating on the that's the stitch pattern, which is a cool stitch pattern. We also fill you in on the history behind it. It is originated in the, I can't speak this language, Plzeň, Bohemia, which is now part of the Czech Republic. It is known worldwide for the Pilsner beer, which is kind of cool. And then the Niantic heel has been around a long time. When you see machine knitted, what they call Niantic hosiery, this is what is shown. It is really kind of like more of a machine knit heel, but it's a cool heel to do. We've incorporated German short rows into this for a lot of reasons. It wasn't just, hey, let's do those. A lot of thought goes into every little detail. It's simple, it's unobtrusive, it's comfortable, it doesn't have any sort of seam. It was just the perfect pairing for this heel. And what's cool about this is the toe and the heel are identical. You do the exact same thing for the toe that you do for the heel. Isn't that neat? And then the seam on the toe, it has a Kitchener seam as well, but it goes across the top of the foot. And just like Mom, in her techniques, I've applied her same thought process to these so that you don't have any little ridges, seams, holes, funny looking stitches. Every little detail has been thought through, and it is incorporated into this pattern so that your sock will look as perfect as ours. And that was the first one we did. The yarn for it is from Mirasol, is the Kushku. I love this company. A lot of the profits from this company go to build schools in Peru and help the farmers. And it's a beautiful yarn. Okay, let's put that one up. And then for the next sock box, this is one that I was especially excited about to do for a couple of reasons. For one, I dyed the yarn for this sock. These are our Socky Minis. Oops, I got a little extra thing hanging in there. And it's yarn that we have dyed. I have dyed this myself. We have lots of different colors that you can pick from. I think I've shown them in the back. We've got a lot of fun colorways. Some will be more stripy, some will be more subtle stripes. Lots of different looks for this. The other reason I was excited to do this sock is it features helix striping. Mom, when she died, that's what she was working on. She was working on a sock pattern for us with helix striping. She was mesmerized by it. If you knit a lot, you'll know that when you knit in the round, you get jogs in between the rows where the color goes from one row to the next. There are some, what Mom would call parlor tricks on how to deal with this, but they really don't work that well. But helix striping is the only way that you truly get a spiraling color without any jogs. Really cool thing to do. In fact, she kept saying, I'm doing this, I'm trying to figure out why it works, because it working wasn't enough for her, but she never really got through that process. So when I was ready, I picked up picked up her sock and started where she was in the process. And I was really excited then to incorporate that into our sock box. Helix striping is super cool to do. It's a lot of fun. You will enjoy it. And so that is one of the most exciting things about that. For this sock, we have put in the peasant or afterthought heel. It's a gray heel and it's perfect for this because when you knit the sock, you actually just put a waist yarn here. We even include waist yarn for you, special stuff that won't catch. And you just continue to knit it. And there's just waist yarn here holding these stitches and you just knit a tube. Then you go back and put the stitches from the waist yarn and you make this heel. That is what's really cool. We then picked a wedge toe because it matches the heel. We thought that we like them matching. They coordinated. And a wedge toe is pretty easy to do. And again, just like the first box, all throughout, complete detailed pictures. Every single step. We photographed every little thing that you need to do to make the sock. And it is a really fun sock to make. It also comes with, like I said, we include waist yarn, stitch holders, special, we pick something slick that will hold it and not catch. And then we put one of our bags in. Since we already dyed the sock yarn, we didn't dye a bag for it. And I think you'll enjoy the yarn that we dyed. So that is sock box number 2. Lastly, our last box that we did, sock box number 3. This is the sock. It has Irish cables. This is an Irish cable design that I developed for this sock. I figure if you're going to do Irish cables, go big or go home. So it's heavily cabled. This is probably for a more experienced cable knitter, but it is a lot of fun to do and it's really beautiful. We paired it with La Jolla from Ba. Not particularly Irish, but the soft speckled hues just really worked. We didn't want anything that would compete with this cabling, but yet wasn't just boring either. So it was a good pair for that. For this one, we did the Balbriggan heel. I like to say it, Balbriggan heel. It's an Irish design. It dates back to, I don't remember all this, the fishing village of Balbriggan. It was renowned for its stocking industry. If you're into history, you'll love this. I love learning about this heel. Smith & Company was the premier stocking mill whose customers included Queen Victoria, Tsarina of Russia, the Empress of Russia, Princess Eugenie, and other prominent ladies. That was the base who they used for their stockings, and they loved this heel. What's cool about it is the design can extend all the way down the heel. See how the cables just kind of fall and get smaller into the heel, and it stops here. There's actually a tiny little Kitchener seam at the bottom. It's only 8 stitches, and to make things perfect, I did it in pattern. I realized that Kitchener in pattern isn't everybody's cup of tea. I can do Kitchener in my sleep, knit purl, that's just me. But in the pattern, I've walked you through stitch by stitch by stitch so that you can do it without even having to think. Just do exactly as I say, and you will have a perfectly Kitchenered in pattern heel. Only 8 stitches, so if it was longer, it would be bad, but 8 you can do. It has a small gusset. And then I liked pairing it with the reverse stockinette on the foot. I think that this yarn looks really pretty in the reverse stockinette, and it helped the cables stand out. And then we paired it with the star toe. And what's cool is it just goes down to nothing and is just drawn close. So you don't have any Kitchener there. So just the 8 stitches, you can do it. A lot of fun things in here. I'm trying to think what else we have put in here. All of them, Mom's favorite way to start a stock was with Twisted German Cast On. They all show detailed instructions on how to do that. It's a wonderful cast on. It's a version of the long tail, except it has more elasticity. Anytime you make something that you're going to stretch on or off, whether it's a hat, a mitt, a glove, a sock, you need to use that cast on. It's perfect. But again, lots of detail all the way through. We also include with it more beautiful stitch markers that Jeannie has made, and then we have another hand-dyed bag with a fun little Celtic shamrock on there for you to complete our whole Irish theme. I like a theme. And those are the 3 sock boxes that we have done today. Next on my agenda is to do one that is a simple learn to socks. I wouldn't necessarily recommend these for people who've never knit a sock. I think our instructions are so good in it that you could do it from what I've got there. But if you're looking for something more basic, that's going to be next on the agenda. With all the spare time you think I'd be working on that, I've been into other less creative projects. My creativity has been kind of stunted. Maybe it's because I've been stuck in the same surroundings, haven't been able to go anywhere. So we'll have that to look forward to. I hope you've enjoyed our look at the socks.